Okay.
So good morning, everyone, or good afternoon to Alena, who is in Bulgaria. So she works in Toloka, and she will tell us more about it. So please, Alena.
Thank you so much for introducing me. And yeah, I represent Toloka, and today I will give you a short, but rather full guest lecture. So we will talk today about crowdsourcing. In just a second, I will start sharing my screen. So Carlos, I think you should give me permission to share the screen.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so just yeah, I hope. Oh, I'm sorry, there are some things I need to do. Just a second.
Sure, no worries.
Yeah, sure. I just oh my God. It is very likely that I will leave the meeting at the moment because today I had a technical problem with my computer, had to change it. So I'll be right back.
No problem. Anyone would like to share impressions about the work? ¿Alguien quiere comentar algo sobre el conflicto en Ucrania?
Okay, yeah, now I can share my screen. Thank God. Okay. So yeah, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so today we'll speak about crowdsourcing, its methodology, and some use cases of it. And my name is Alena Johnson, and I'm Educational Project Manager at Toloka. So that's why we'll start with actually what Toloka is. And Toloka is a company that provides crowdsourcing services. So what is crowdsourcing? Crowdsourcing is all about collecting data or processing this data. So you either can collect data and later work with it, or you can work with an existing data. And we help people, everybody who needs data, get access to this labeled data to train their AI and ML models and algorithms. But it's not about Toloka today, it's about the methodology, so that's why let's move on. So on daily basis, we use a lot of services that are that behind these services stands different ML algorithms. We all use search engines, we use taxis, we buy online, we read news online. Some of us are using voice assistants or listen to music online, watching film online, and so on and so forth. And of course, now everybody hears that artificial intelligence and machine learning is standing behind all of these services. But if you scratch a little bit deeper, you will see that actually behind each of these machine learning algorithm or artificial intelligence stands data, and this data is usually labeled by people. If we speak about developing machine learning algorithms, of course, we need data to train them because it's all about training and retraining this algorithm. But the thing is that we need data labeled by human, and that's actually, you know, the irony of our world, because on the one hand, we nowadays see self-driving cars in the streets, a lot of artificial intelligence around us, but we still need people to provide training data for this intelligence. And the thing is that this data is not only needed, it is needed at a large scale. So for example, 10 years ago, it was possible for a big IT company, for example, like Google, to have, for example, 10 or 20 people, 10 or 20 employees who process data, and that was enough for the technologies of that time. For modern technologies, it is not enough. And companies can't, on the one hand, they just can't afford hiring thousands, hundreds and thousands of people. And on the other hand, these hundreds and thousands of people don't want to work for one company when they can work for many. And so just a brief overview of how it all works on a real use case. So here we have search relevance pipeline. So we all use search engines, but how it all works. So there is some algorithm, and this algorithm requires training data. And then we train this algorithm and we receive several versions. Then we test these versions. We test them online or offline first, and we choose 2 that will continue to the next step. Then we test it again, this time online, and finally we bring one of them into production. And finally, we evaluate how it all works in production. So these are the usual steps of how this pipeline is created. And the thing is that on all of these steps, there are people. So first of all, there are people who collect data for the initial training. So for the first training of the algorithm. Then there are people who check how these ML things work for these 3 versions. Then there are people who retrain, who collect data to retrain the algorithm. So as I have already mentioned, we need people on every step. So how can we get this data, this human managed data? Of course, there are a lot of ways, but a small spoiler, personally, we believe in crowdsourcing. Yes, of course, you can use open source data, or you can use, so if we speak about search relevance, sometimes it is easy to get data from the users, or you can get this data from your partners or even buy it, but still, all of these types of getting access to data will require additional activities from your side. That's why crowdsourcing data is the best value for money, if we can say so. So it is the way where you can get access data without attracting additional workforce, without attracting additional partners, without taking additional efforts from your side, whether you're a researcher or you're running a startup and so on and so forth. So how it all works. You have a big task that you need to, I don't know, collect pictures to train your computer vision model. Then you divide these into smaller tasks. So your first big task was not possible, could only be completed by a professional and a very high level ML specialist. But once you divide this task into several smaller tasks, it is already possible that anybody can do this task. And then you send this task to a cloud of performance. Of course, you control them, you check how well they work, and there are special things how to do this, and I will speak about them a bit later. And then at the end, you get the results. So how it all works. Developing our service, because of course we didn't start doing it yesterday. We have been doing it for several years. And so when we only started, we were thinking, and over the time we have managed to develop a whole, like a pipeline, I'm bad at counting today. So the 6 steps that you should take to create a good crowdsourcing project, and it will work on all platforms It doesn't matter which platform you use, or it will even work if you are using like that so-called private crowd, when you have your own, for example, team of people who are helping you to process the data. So first of all, it is important to decompose the task. So even if the task seems simple to you, it doesn't mean that it will be so for the users. Here we advise to take a critical look at your task to decide how many steps it will take to complete each task. And if it takes more than one step, then the task should be decomposed. Coming to a real example, I will get back to the pictures for computer vision. You can have a whole stack of pictures that you want to use to train your algorithm. And you want to train, I don't know, your computer vision system to identify, I don't know, status, I'm sorry. But you're not sure that all of your pictures contain status. That's why it's important that you first take your pictures and choose those with the status, and then you mark the status on the pictures. So that is what decomposition. So instead of running one project, you run two, but you get higher quality. The second thing is instruction. So instruction is a vital thing, because you should always remember that people who take your task, they are not professionals. They are not, how should I say it? They are not, they don't have expertise in your field. That's why it is very important to explain what you want them to do. So not just write, mark this picture, explain what you expect them to mark on this picture or label, and so forth. Then it is important to, of course, to create a user-friendly interface that will allow performers, or as we call them, Tolokers, complete the task as quick as possible, but at the same time, understand clearly what they have to do and do everything with the highest possible quality. The fourth step will be quality control. Of course, it is important to control what the performers do and how they do this. And we have a whole set of algorithms how to do this, and I will show you in the demo a bit later. Of course, you need to establish optimal pricing, and it's important not to make your price too low, of course, because any job should be paid, but at the same time, it's important not to set it too high. We are an open platform with a competitive market, but we encourage you to be very careful with the pricing. And so after you get the results, you should aggregate them to get only those results that are good for you, that can be used for your project, and so forth. So covering all the 6 steps, you will get high quality results that you will be able to use for any project, being it, by the way, an ML or not ML project that you will see a bit later from the use cases. So a few words how exactly Toloka works. So on the one hand, we have a whole cloud of Tolokers. They come from different countries. They speak different languages. They have very different backgrounds. And on the other hand, we have people who need data. These can be big businesses, researchers, students, whoever who needs data for the project. And we unite them on this platform. So we give requesters an opportunity to place their project, to collect data, or to label data on our platform. And Tolokers, they come here, they help process this data, and of course, they earn money here. And the thing is that, as I have already mentioned, our Tolokers, they come from all types of background. And when they register on the platform, they fill in a special form where they state the skills. So sometimes when some special skills are required for some project, for example, I don't know, people should be able to speak some particular language, or for example, have some knowledge in some particular sphere, it is possible to choose people who stated in their profile that they have the following skills, and they will perform the project. And so where it can be applied. So basically, we can divide all spheres of crowdsourcing application into four groups, let's say. So I will speak briefly about each group, and then I will show you some use case. So here you can see the groups. So they are content collection, data annotation, business decision making, and human in the loop. So let's start with content collection. Of course, it's quite clear that sometimes you need to collect some content. It can be data extraction from the internet, or it can be collecting, I don't know, commands to train your voice assistant. Or we have so-called set of tasks in our platform that we call feet on the street. It's when performers are asked to go to some particular place and, for example, collect information about some particular organization. For example, I don't know, a restaurant. And they come to this place and they check if this restaurant is still there, its open hours. And that's why later this information is used to update the maps. And that's how maps are actually updated. So every time you open a Google map and you see that, for example, instead of your favorite coffee shop, there is now, I don't know, another supermarket, you know that the person who helped this information to change on the map is just is a Toloka, or maybe not from our platform, but a performer on one of the crowdsourcing platforms. So, and here's the use case I have. I don't know, I love this use case. It's one of my favorites. So the task was to collect 50,000 videos of feet for a try-on app. There is a startup that is called Nitsi. So what it looks like, it is like fitting startup. So when people can try on shoes without actually going to the shop. And so the algorithm from the point of view of the user is rather simple, that you take a picture of your feet, then there is a 3D model created, and you can adjust different types of shoes and choose the best one for you. But of course, it's not that simple from the inside of this project. And of course, to train this algorithm, to train it, to enable it to create these 3D models, these guys from Nitsi needed a lot of feet, I mean, pictures of feet, of course, not feet themselves. And so, of course, at first they tried to collect this data themselves, but very soon they realized that they just simply don't know enough people to collect such an amount. And that was the moment when they found out about crowdsourcing. So they placed a task for performers and asked them to send short videos, 5-10 seconds of their feet. So later, these videos were cut into screenshots. And as a third step, they removed all the repeating images. So they took only the unique ones. And at the end, just after 5 days, they had 1,500 videos and more than 50,000 images of feet from these videos. So that's about data collection. So now about data annotation. So data annotation, it's all about labeling this data. So here it can be, of course, all the types of tasks that come into mind about computer vision, when videos and pictures are labeled, so identifying different objects in these. Of course, it's again labeling different tasks for NLP, and also it's about intent classification when you identify whether, for example, so again, some example not from ML, but some companies use data annotation when they want to check the feedback that they have, because of course you don't want to have swearings in the feedback on your website or under your organization. So that's also about data annotation. So in my use case here is about labeling 34,000 images from Japanese TV. That was a task when they had a lot of different images, and they needed to identify them. But the thing was that looking at these pictures, you can see that they had all types of faces. Some of these faces, like these guys singing something in karaoke, they could be seen very well. Others were just barely I don't know, understandable, like this mother, she's hiding her face behind her daughter. And so just in 3 weeks, they managed to label 65,000 images, and they got so they got at the end. So they removed all the images without faces or with cartoon faces, because the data set was rather noisy. And finally, they managed to find to label these 34,000 images and to train the advertising algorithm using them. So the third type is product decision making. So as I have already mentioned, sometimes, and very often actually, crowdsourcing can be used not for some on-the-edge technology solutions, but it can be used for different product decision making, or it can be used for surveys. And a lot of researchers all over the world, they use crowdsourcing when they are studying, for example, people's behavior in this or that situation, and they need to collect responses. So the next time you read some, I don't know, some article about social behavior, economical behavior, and there are some numbers that like 55% of people prefer to, I don't know, to keep their money cash, and you start thinking, how do they know? You may be sure that actually this researcher probably have used crowdsourcing platform to collect the data for his survey. And so, as I have already mentioned, so product decision making, it's all about asking people's opinion. When you need to run, for example, a UX survey, or check how well your brand is placed, if we speak about business, and again some surveys for social science, that's all about this type of tasks. And here, as a use case, I will speak about the brand identity that actually we are proud to say that we used our own platform when we were rebranding Toloka. So what we did, we asked designers to create us several logos. You can see them here. And then we asked our performers, because of course Toloka's performers, they are part of the platform and their opinion is as important as other employees. So we asked them which they liked more, and just in 6 minutes we so in 6 minutes we got the results. So this one was chosen, and we used a side-by-side comparison. So when in each task, each performer saw several pairs of these logos in different combinations, and they were asked to say just which one do you like more, and they just replied it. So and finally, so that's what it looked like. And finally, the last but not the least type is tasks that are called human in the loop. This is better to explain on a use case, because the use case is better because it's not always quite clear how it all works. So we have a client that is called Handle, and they have created an algorithm that helps process a lot of paperwork for the companies. And generally, this algorithm is very good with processing what is written in all this documentation. But sometimes these documents contain handwriting, or they are not very clear. For example, it's some scanned document that is not very easy to read. And the algorithm is not sure here. because the most interesting thing about all this algorithm and artificial things is that actually they don't have what people have. They don't have imagination, and that's where people come in. So once the task is marked as the task that can't be run by an algorithm, Handle sends such tasks to Toloka. So they go to the crowdsourcing platform and they ask the crowd to check this document. Of course, they have a lot of security precautions. So they, of course, never show the whole document to one person, only a small part. And even two parts from the same document can't be sent to the same performer because, of course, sometimes it contains some sensitive information. But nevertheless, they managed to check more than 4,000 documents daily. So, and also I wanted to share with you a use case that is actually, we call it crowdsourcing beyond ML. So this use case has nothing to do with any algorithm or with anything like that. So it's about Jewish tombstones. You know that during the Second World War in Europe, there was a terrible tragedy for Jews, and they were just, the whole community, Jewish community, was destroyed in Europe. And now there is a group of scientists who are trying to restore information about these communities, about these villages and settlements. And one of the ways to do this, when there are no people who survived in some regions, or those who survived and unfortunately they are already either too old to be able to report anything, or unfortunately some of them are already dead. So the most reliable source of information in that case are the graveyards, the cemeteries. And this group of researchers, they had a whole set of pictures. And these pictures were very different. So these pictures were from different archives, from different expeditions. They found it in family archives when they asked people to share some photos. And these photos were very, very different. So for example, on this photo here, you can see quite a normally looking tombstone. And on the picture, in the middle, there is only part of this grave. And in the picture on the right, actually, we can't even be sure that it's the cemetery that we are looking at. And so what they did first. So first they realized a project of image classification. And if I'm not mistaken, they had around 100,000 images. And the first thing they did, they just identified the pictures that collected real graves. The second step was also image classification, and this time they divided these pictures of tombstones into two groups. Those containing complete tombs, when it's possible to see different ornaments or read something on it, or those that look like this, that only partly survived during the war and after that. And with those that looked that were in good shape, they ran the next project for them, selecting a region and an image. So they asked the performers to find, to select in the image only the piece with the text. And at the end, so that's what they received. So in each picture, there was a polygon with the text, because this text is a good source of information to try to restore information about the community where this tomb was. And now actually this part of the project is still in progress, because now they have extracted this text from these polygons, and now they are running the process of actually extracting this text and identifying it. So they are turning it step by step, because of course it is necessary to find performers who know Yiddish and can read on it. And so now they are turning it into printed text, and later it will be translated. And the translation they also plan to evaluate on Toloka. So to conclude, I have shown you how crowdsourcing works and how it can be applied in different spheres, and we are happy to share our methodology and speak about it. Thank you so much for having us. And also in why it is helpful. So it helps conduct experiments online. It helps make business decisions faster, and sometimes it can help with digitalization of archives and artifacts. And finally, here you can see two QR codes to our initiatives that we have in Toloka Academy. We're happy to support researchers with our grants and students with our education pricing plan. And I will send all the information to Carlos, and so he will share with you. And also we have small promo code for you if you decide to try our platform. So this promo code I will also share with your professor. So do you have any questions at this moment? Please feel free to ask me.
Yep. Just unmute yourselves or also write on the chat.
Okay, and I will stop sharing my screen for the moment. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, or you can just write in the chat. And I need a couple of more minutes just to prepare for the demo. I want to show you how it all works actually. Just a sec.
Hello, Amina.
Hi. Hi, Carlos. Hi.
I just wanted to share with the youngsters, because most probably they don't remember. So perhaps the first example of crowdsourcing I recall is when Google first started, let's say, its search engine for images. I mean, the machine learning algorithms were too rudimentary in order to be able to classify images of cats or chihuahuas or
actually muffins. That's what we're going to do today in our demo. We will work with images of cats. And actually, so as long as nobody has any questions, I will start sharing my screen again, and I will show you how Toloka works. Just a second, so I need this one. Yeah. So this is our website, and from this website, generally people who use Toloka, they get to the platform. So just a second, I will sign in. Yeah. And so that's what they see. So actually, if you use for the first time, then this part will be empty, but I have already run several projects. That's why it's not empty. So if you look on the left here, we have usually two types of templates for the users. They're customizable. It's when you create the template, everything yourself, or ready to go with some preset solutions that can be used for the project. But today we will work with the customizable. So I'm pressing create the project, and here you can see different types of projects that can be realized on the platform. So it's about image classification, it's about object recognition, so all types of work with images, with videos, with tags, for example, some text classification or entity recognition, things like that. The same with audio. The field tasks that I mentioned, so these are feet on the street tasks. And here we have data enrichment. So for example, some product photo search, some photo search actually, or mining for some information and things like that. So this is our commercial project, but still we need to follow our clients' requests. So we very often create such things for them. And finally, here is the research, this customer survey that can be realized on Toloka. And actually, the projects above, they are like some templates. But if these templates don't meet the needs of the people who are using Toloka, we have this blank version. And actually, that's the version that we are going to use. So when we choose it, we use this solution. So any project on Toloka consists of 4 major parts. So it's general information, it's task interface, and instruction for performers. So we'll start with the general information. First of all, we need to create a name for our project. And today we're going to ask our performers. So what is the cat's mood? Look at the picture and decide if the cat is in good mood or in a bad mood. So here we briefly describe our project, so what we want them to do. So this is the first part our performers see. Then we proceed to the task interface. We always use template builder. I have already prepared the code, so I will just quickly copy it from my from here and just paste it into my and also it's important to paste one more thing. This one and here. So it's important to use this image example because it's important. So I have something wrong here. Yeah. Not necessary things. Yeah. So why I use this input data example, because here I preview the interface, and it's important to me, for me as a requester and for any requester, it's important to see this the task exactly the way performers will see it. So now I am 100% sure, so that I have the right question, what is the cat's mood, that I have good, bad, and fail to load. Because sometimes, unfortunately, not all pictures load as we expect them to load, and things like that. And so about these numbers 1 to 3, these are hot buttons. So instead of just pressing each time good, bad, or fail to load, the performer can just press 1, 2, or 3, depending on what they see. So here we check that our image is an URL, because there will be URLs, and as a result, we'll have string. And the last part for us here, that's instruction. We generally do that in HTML. I already have a prepared instruction, which I'm just going to paste here. And once I press like this, so here is the instruction. As you can see in this is a simple task, but in any case, I write everything. So I explain how to complete the task, so that they can actually rotate the picture if that there is a rotate button in the picture if the picture is in strange position, or they can press fail to load, and they can use these buttons. So now that I have general description, I have the interface, and I have the instruction, I can create a project. So here is my project, and it has no statistic because we haven't started it yet, but after some time there will be some statistics here, like how much I spent, how many users took my task, and so on and so forth. So the next part, we need to create the main part of the project, which is called the pool. So we create the pool. The pool is the thing where our tasks will be. So first of all, again, we have general information here. Usually this general information is copied from the main project, but sometimes some projects are more complicated and they have more than one pool, for example. And in that case, we advise to change the name here, but I will not do this in that situation. Here you can add some private comment. Private comment will be only for you. And of course, we also advise this to be used only when you have more than one pool in one project. Then you need to choose your audience. First of all, we look at this. So we're going to label cats. Cats are not shocking, I hope, at least for most people, and they're definitely not pornographic content. So we don't need this tick here. Then, because my question is in English, so that's why I want English-speaking performers to see it. And also here you can choose speed quality balance. So this is a balance. These are performers who have a good balance between how fast they complete the tasks and how good they do this. Usually we advise to put it somewhere around 60%. So now I have access to 5,219 active users who will in several minutes take my tasks. But it's important, of course, to set some pricing. So my task is, again, very simple. That's why I will pay 1 cent per task. So completing one task will bring them 1 cent. And of course, it's important to set some quality control. So one quality control is always set here. It's task overlap. So what is overlap? It's when the same picture of the same cat will be shown to 3 people, and the final answer will be chosen basing on the majority votes. So that means that if one person says that the cat is in bad mood, but 2 others say that the cat is in good mood, we can believe that the cat is in good mood. And of course, you can choose dynamic overlap, but my task is not very difficult, so there is no need to do this. I won't also use capture, there's no need on this project, but sometimes it can be used. And another quality control that I want to use here will be fast response. So I will say that the minimum task per time per task will be 10 seconds. And also I will say that if the number of fast responses is less or equals, just a second, I need to check this. I always forget how to properly set this, not to lose many people. Yeah, we'll have 1. Yeah, is less or equals 1. Then I want to ban this performer on a project for example, let's say 1 hour. I won't be too strict, or maybe 1 day, let's say so. And the reason will be fast response. So that means that if a performer replies faster than in 10 seconds, completes faster than 10 seconds, he will be banned for 1 day on my project. So in additional settings, you can choose a lot of things like the pool closing date or the time pursued and so forth. But again, for my simple projects, it's not that needed. And so I press create the pool. And okay, I hope, okay, yeah, not as fast as I expected. So, and now we are inside the pool. We can see here the start labeling button, but it's gray so far because we haven't uploaded any tasks yet. So let's do that. We always, my God, what is going on with me today? Yeah, of course, we need to say, yeah. We can, usually we choose set manually, or it can be smart mixing, but smart mixing is advisable when you have training tasks. When you don't have training tasks, there is no need for smart mixing. So I want to say that I want to have 10 tasks per page. That means that on one screen, the performer will see 10 pictures of cats. And now let's upload my file. Just a second. I have already prepared the file, so now it's uploading. And we can see that there will be 12 tasks used, that means 12 pages of tasks, and in general I have 120 pictures. So I add them to the pool. So here again, we have a lot of pool statistics that we can have a look at, we'll have a look at a bit later. And here in preview, you can see your pictures, you can see your tasks. So that's what it will look like. So a lot of different cats. And here are the buttons, and you can even try and submit the tasks if you want to check, and we actually advise to do that. You can, so this is the way the performer will see your task. And finally, so we won't need any training or control tasks for such a simple project. So we press start labeling. So, and the process has started. So right now, at this very moment, around, I don't remember how many already, but around 5,000 people have seen my my project and have started doing this. Here we will see how it is being processed. And again, we can have a look at different statistics that we hear. So there are around even 8,000 active, almost 9,000 active users. So this is the approximate budget of my of my project, and so on and so forth. And we can have a look at the statistics even closer. So if we go to the statistics, we can, of course, the project has just started, but you can see here the graphs, how it all works, and so on and so forth. And so we can already see that our project is almost completed, so 66%. Let's wait, 72. So that's almost it. So once you receive the result, I won't do it now because it's just a demo. I'm not going to use this set, but generally you can either download results as it is, the way they are, or you can aggregate your results and get only the responses that, for example, so you get it already aggregated and compressed to one response per picture. And we advise to use David Skin model for that. And so our pool is almost completed. And actually, that's almost all that I was going to tell you. I will download the results and show you the way it looks in a bit. But so if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
I suppose that for those images that are, let's say, undefined, or let's say that one wouldn't classify them as good or bad, it has simply to do with the design of your task and whether you want to put an extra option or not.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can now download results, and yeah, I will save it to, and we can, I'll just change the sharing point. With new computers, it's always a bit difficult because it wants to open in a strange way, everything. So actually, although it looks a bit strange because I have dark, but so here we can see the, here's the results of the assignment, the link, it's okay, and it's approved. And, but now I have all the answers, they are unaggregated, but once I aggregate them, I will have, of course, much less lines here. So there is something in the chat. Hello, Alena, the platform is great. My question is regarding the trust of the participants. What security is used on the platform to detect if the participants are responding responsibly? That's a wonderful question. Lombardi, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Pardon me if I did not. So first of all, we have a lot of quality control things in our platform. I showed you only one, which was fast response. So by setting this, when I set this, that each performer, or as you call them, participant, that they spend more than 10 seconds or at least 10 seconds on each cat. And when I make this rule, I can be sure that actually at least some of them spent more time, and those who spent less time are banned on my project. That's the first thing I do. The second thing was the overlap. So this overlap helps me because each picture is shown to 3 people. And I strongly believe, and we in crowdsourcing, we strongly believe that there are more honest people in the world. But actually it helps us control that actually the picture is labeled correctly and honestly. And of course, there are a lot of other ways. So for example, if the task is really, sometimes it is connected not with the fact that our performers are dishonest. Sometimes the task is a bit too hard for them to complete because the picture quality may be not very high, or the person is asking some unbelievable questions. And in that case, we can use such a feature as post acceptance. It means that already completed task is sent to another person to check if it's completed correctly or not. And this is used in the same project. So the performer who completes the task doesn't even know, he knows that there is this post acceptance, but he doesn't even notice in reality the real time spent on this post acceptance. And a lot of other ways like capture, or you can again filter the performers by skills. And of course, generally the performers, a lot of performers, they only state that they are more than 18. That means that they can get access to all types of tasks and that they speak English. But there are people who tell us more about their skills, about their expertise, and they can also get access, and you can identify the skills, and only these people with such a skill set will get access to your tasks. How sophisticated experiments can be programmed on your platform? It is for questioners mainly. So I think I can even show you a demo of a survey. Just a second. I close and yeah, I think I will very quickly show you how it all works. But generally, it is possible to create almost any survey in the platform. So here we have a survey. And so it's customer survey in this case. So of course, it doesn't work this way when you do this like that. It's a demo. Please keep in mind because you'll need to spend some time. But actually, it works absolutely the same like I showed you now. But this time, you don't need to. Skip. So at the moment, it is labeling. But if we go to the project itself, and it will look absolutely the same. So you ask them to answer the questions. And again, so that's what they see actually. So I will show the preview task. So almost any questions can be used here, and it can be like choosing a tab, or it can be one of the option, or it can be all the options possible. So it's no problem. And so you can see that our labeling is finished, and we can can press save and go to the pool. This is demo pool. It is completed. So that's basically how it all works. Hope I have answered your question. And of course, here we have some very simple questions, like I showed you on a preview. But of course, they can be replaced by absolutely any other. So here it's about soft drinks, but you can ask, I don't know, how much money on average you spend on this, or how do you make your economic decisions in the family, and so on and so forth. Okay, so any other questions?
Alena, now that you were showing surveys, it seems to me that there's huge potential for social sciences, because
yeah. Actually, mainly our surveys are used by social scientists, and of course they're used by our business clients, let's say so. But if we speak about research, for example, we are supporting a laboratory at Higher School of Economics in Moscow, and they study economic behavior. And actually, they use these surveys. They are like, they're squeezing the maximum from our platform. They're really interesting guys. And I know they even manage through these surveys to play some economic games with our performers and so they study how people. So when there is a group of people and they need to find to take some economic decision, being it a family or some community, how they influence each other, and this like individual and group decisions and the whole survey. So yeah.
Because traditionally, let's say, social sciences were denigrated and called soft, basically because it was very difficult to get data. I mean, if you wanted to go and get up information or data, you need to have a huge poll, and if it's by phone, then it's biased by people who answer the phone, and if you knock on doors, it's biased by people who are at home when you visit them, and of course, these polls might be biased as well, but it provides a tool so that I mean, because of course there's like SurveyMonkey or Google Forms that you can just make a poll, but then especially students suffer to get people to fill in their
of course you need
polls.
and actually the cool
and then
thing
you
about
have bias.
And actually, the cool thing about crowdsourcing platform, not only about ours, but generally speaking, if we speak before surveys, is that, of course, you can create a survey monkey survey or use Google form, but you still need to get access to people who will answer this form. And but crowdsourcing platform, they give you access to these people, and a more important and more interesting thing, like for example, for those guys who study economic behavior, that they, through our platform, they get access to people from different countries, because we have international crowd, and actually most crowdsourcing platforms also do, but we are proud to say that we have a huge international crowd from all over the world, and they can not only study like some particular group of people that they found, I don't know, around their university, but they study how people do the same things and take the same decisions in the same situations, but in different countries. And of course, these decisions, they differ from country to country, from culture to culture, from different level of economical development of these countries, and from mentality, and a lot of different things. And that's a great thing if we speak about social science, that that's a great opportunity to get access to such a tool about collecting data, but also about like the example that I gave you today with the cemeteries, that before these researchers found out about crowdsourcing, they were actually sitting physically in these archives with a lot of pictures. Some of these pictures were like digital, and they could see them on their computers, but others that were taken like decades ago, they were in real paper and actual paper pictures, and they were just sitting, and instead of actually finding some real information about these destroyed communities, they were literally just putting, okay, this picture has a cemetery, this doesn't have, and it took them a lot of time to do this. So once they started using crowdsourcing, they managed to make a huge leap forward, like a huge step forward, because it was now it was possible for them to do something more interesting, more important, more relevant for their, of course, processing pictures was also relevant, but still something else. And the most important thing, that it got faster. So they got lots of results in the first in 3 months after they started. So they already had good results. And what else? And also, for example, we have researchers that we're also supporting. They are studying, oh my gosh, they're studying tweets about medical tweets, and how these headlines with tweets and about medical conditions, how they influence people, how people believe in these headlines and things like that. So I don't remember in detail the whole project, but that's again another social experiment, when they are just running surveys showing these images of these headlines to our performers, and the performers answer questions about them.
Yeah. So I pasted in the chat a link to a paper from Cesar Hidalgo's group. So several years ago, almost 10 years ago, they used images from Google Street View, and then they asked people, hey, please rate how safe you find this street. And then they got, I don't know, like 7,000 people answered, but then with that they trained an algorithm, and with that they ascribe a score to different streets all over the world on how safe those streets looked based on a few answers. And then they had like 1 million pictures with a rating. And later they extended this to other aspects, not only safety, but other things. And I think some people have also done something similar about how green a city is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether it began with this, but I remember Google Images speaking about artificial intelligence. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea was that back in the day, there were more tasks that were difficult for AI.
Mm-hmm.
So they thought, well, if we have humans helping the machines, then that would be artificial intelligence. And somehow the name didn't stick. But
yeah, but actually, as I said, that's
the
the
methods
irony
did.
of our world, that all this artificial intelligence and still can't live, luckily still can't live without us.
Yeah. But I mean, it was like a specific project just for categorization of images, and they would it would have gamification, so it's not like
Mm-hmm.
you earn money, which is I think a better incentive, but it will be a little game, and they would match two players from all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
and you watch the same image, and then you need to put keywords for that image.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say in order to make consistent, the goal of the game is to get matching keywords. So this random other player, you are a team, and you will both get points with keywords that only both of you insert. So that also works against people trying to cheat on the system, because you really need to work together with other crowdsourcers.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's very interesting that Toloka has managed to generalize these ideas, and then it's very easy to design your own. And in principle, this can lead to very powerful applications.
Yeah, that's true. So we have another question here, but actually I need some clarification. I would like to know if the platform has been used in projects associated with the trade of traditional crafts. I don't quite understand your question, I'm sorry.
Hi, Elena.
Hi.
Yes, I was thinking about cultural appropriation, this problem, and I was thinking about how this platform will help us to detect this cultural appropriation and just to solve this problem of cultural security, that some elements of cultures have been stalled. And I think this platform could help to detect which platforms are stealing some elements that are cultural and are, how do you say, patrimonio in Spanish?
Heritage.
Heritage.
Oh, I think I see what you mean, but of course it is possible to, if we're speaking about such a survey about cultural identities that are used not always in the right way, or sometimes are just used to attract attention to something, and just like advertisement, yeah, it is possible to run such a survey on our platform. But what I was talking about, that if you want to, for example, check how the same cultural identification is perceived in different parts of the world, because for example, I don't know, speaking of as your guys are all from Mexico, so if you ask me, so what like cultural associations I have with Mexico, of course I have some ideas in my mind, like sombrero and the person with the guitar singing, and then this fast that you have about the Day of the Dead, and I forgot the Spanish name. So these are but I'm 100% sure that 100% of my ideas about Mexico are created not by Mexico itself, but by the advertisement, and actually that this identity was cultural identity can be very, very far from the reality. And unfortunately, I haven't been to Mexico, but I hope to visit your country. And so once I come, I will be really shocked, and I will say, "Oh my God, I was completely wrong." And of course, if somebody is trying to study such a thing as the wrong cultural identity or stolen cultural identity, it can also be done on our platform. So any survey that doesn't break human rights, or that is not aimed at humiliating our performers, can be realized on our platform.
There's some projects that search at cultural genealogies. So, for example, there are some people who have made music genealogy along the 20th century. So like with different types of jazz and which ones influence different type of rock, and then pop and rap, and I mean all the music styles you can imagine, how these are interrelated. And of course it's not a tree, because let's say there are lots of different influences, and also in some cases there's not a precise name because there were some groups or artists that they were representative of more than one music type. And vice versa. So I guess that if people, let's say, if you would crowdsource some similarity of either music or visual arts or whatever, then it might be a different approach to try to find these similarities and influences. That, of course, it doesn't mean that if one music is similar to another type of music, that it was influenced. I mean, it might be that just like in evolution, there's convergent evolution, and say you have flying creatures not necessarily descending from the same ancestor.
Yeah, that's right.
Like bats and dragonflies and birds. But yeah, it's something that you could. It would be interesting to crowdsource in order to get a classification of similarities of different cultural artifacts, or I don't know, elements. Yeah.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the last part? Oh, okay. So any other questions? So I will send Carlos, I will send you the follow-up, and if your students have any questions, please feel free to share my email with them, and just guys come directly. So thank you so much for having me tonight, because it's really late where I am, but it's still very early where you are. So I wish you a wonderful day, and okay, may the peace be with us, and that's the most important thing now. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much, Elena, and I will post the details on the classroom, so you can have them at hand.
Yeah, I will share the presentation I showed today, and also I will send some useful information about different projects that people realize with our platform with the help of crowdsourcing, so just to share with you. And so feel free to contact me should you like to use our platform for your projects. I will be really happy to help you.
Yep.
Okay, have a good day. Thank you
very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Goodbye. Good luck.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Gracias.
Have a great weekend, and see you the rest next week.
Thanks.
you.